Welcome, Fiend and Fiendettes, and it's time for another installment of Uberdemon's Movie Morgue. I'm going to start off with a little literary segment here today, and I'm going to talk about a couple of books that I'm in the process of reading right now. And I got this for Christmas. It's Morbid Curiosity Cures the Blues. And what this is, it's kind of a compilation of the magazine Morbid Curiosity, which had a short run and very, very sporadic distribution that had covered all kinds of morbid and interesting stories that happen in real life. This is kind of like chicken soup for the soul for morbid people, which is why I wanted it. And I've read a few stories. One was a 50th anniversary of Auschwitz. Someone walked through and took a tour of Auschwitz for the 50th anniversary, and some very haunting things happened there. One was an interesting article about someone trying to find ways to find mind-altering substances in Southeast Asia, being various fruit that smells horrible when you eat it, and just tastes really horrible, but it's supposed to kind of have a chemical altering effect on your mind. And also in this book, there's a story about Lila Wendell, and I'm assuming it's about her tromping through graveyards, so I'm interested to read that one. I still have quite a bit of ways to go through this one, but I'm probably going to get back to this one because I'm reading another book right now, which is The Dead. And it's a very interesting zombie novel that actually originally came out in 1989, according to what I've read in Morgue. And it's actually a very good zombie novel from what I've read so far. It keeps me interested. The characters are interesting. The zombies are pretty interesting. It's a pretty good book. Like I said, it's interesting. There's 36 illustrations by the author throughout the book, and they're pretty visceral illustrations. Very interesting. Definitely cool to look at. Helps tell the story through the pictures as you're reading along. I haven't finished it yet. I'm probably about a little more than halfway through it. Very cool. It's it's deals a lot with religion, and as far as believers and non-believers and zombies coming back at being kind of like Judgment Day, and these zombies have superhuman strength, and they're like recruiting more zombies for their masses. And it's pretty creepy in a lot of the things, like technology's failing. And keep in mind, this takes place in the 80s. This is pre-cell phone, pre-internet. I mean, landline phones and television was about all that people had technology-wise at this point in time. And it's interesting to see how these characters are surviving in these dire circumstances where even the little technology that they have at this point in time in history is failing on them, and they're being stalked by zombies. Pretty much all they have is each other and their weapons. And very interesting book. Can't wait to finish it. I'm going to move on to a high-def segment here. And you've already heard me ring about this movie several times if you're a regular watcher. Zombieland. It finally came out on home video. And the great Blu-ray. Special features are kind of cool. I like the promos that they did with the letters that people wrote in. That was kind of cool. Deleted scenes, I could understand why they deleted them for pacing and continuity reasons. This movie's great. It's hilarious. Jesse Eisenberg is like Ash, kind of, except he kind of has a clue, whereas Ash is just a badass and kicks ass all over the place because that's what he does. Woody Harrelson, who's just looking to kick some zombie ass and find a Twinkie. That's what makes this movie great, is Woody Harrelson being Twinkie the Kid and kicking zombie ass to get there. And it's very true what Jesse Eisenberg character says in one part about Woody Harrelson and zombie killing. It's like watching art, and you have to buy this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, buy it because you'll want to watch it again. And true, it's in the same vein as movies like Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that. And it's kind of touted this Shaun of the Dead meets Superbad, which is a fairly accurate description. But I think it's right up there with Shaun of the Dead. As far as zomcoms go, definitely check it out. And of course, there's Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is now out on home video. Again, a lot of people are painting Rob Zombie's movies and saying, why is he making remakes? Why doesn't he go back to the House of the Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects kind of stuff? I thought this was again a decent remake. Again, not the original, never will be, but Rob Zombie took it in his own direction, and I like what he did with it. Speaking of Rob Zombie, his new CD has also come out, Hellbilly Deluxe 2, and in his concert, he was jokingly said, he's like, "You're gonna say, oh man, it's good, but it's not as good as the first one." I disagree, and then he went on to say, it's good, but it's good in its own different way, and that's true. This is very different from a lot of his former efforts with various band members and various songs. It's definitely more eclectic for Rob Zombie, I would say, and it's definitely kind of a bit of a throwback also. It's got some of his kind of more old classic rock kind of feeling songs, kind of like Werewolf Baby, that feels a little more classic to me. And you have stuff like Burn, which feels a lot more like older White Zombie from like Astro Creep stuff. And like What and Sick Bubblegum kind of reminds me of early Hellbilly Deluxe period mixed with White Zombie. And What is just crazy, kind of like psychedelic, classic rock, crazy kind of music. I like this album quite a bit. I'm currently in the process of wearing it out, so if you haven't picked it up yet, I definitely recommend this album. And in Halloween 2, I've already shown you this album, but in Halloween 2 and on tour with Rob Zombie was Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures, which, again, great band. If you can find the CD, I've seen it floating around at Hot Topic now. Pick it up. Very cool band. And they're actually from Georgia, I believe. Great, kind of like honky-tonk kind of horror music. It's definitely a little bit country. If you don't like that kind of stuff, then you probably want to shy away from it. But I really liked what they've done with the music, because it's not overtly country. It's more like classic country, which had balls. It's definitely not your typical type of country music, and that's why I enjoy it. It reminds me more like Johnny Cash, and there's a ton of Johnny Cash fans out there. If you like Johnny Cash and you like horror music and horror movies, then you'll probably enjoy Captain Clegg and the Night Creatures, which coincidentally they happen to get their name from a Hammer movie called The Night Creatures, which deals with Captain Clegg and his band of misfits, the Night Creatures. So that was my little tidbit of information as how the band got their name. And I'm going to focus the rest of this episode on Fever Dream Productions, which they work pretty much exclusive. In fact, they work exclusively with the distribution label Media Blasters on their Shriek Show label, and they kind of have done some stuff with the Tokyo Shock label as well. And these guys are really a notch above as far as bringing out new and inventive and good horror movies that really take you back to the good old days. It's more modernized, and they've taken certain liberties because, of course, we're in a modern age and we can't go back in time per se, but they do a good job of being nostalgic with new and inventive horror properties. And a prime example of that is the Flesh for the Beast series, which this is the graphic novel that came out after the movie came out. Came out probably a year after the movie came out. It's a great graphic novel to check out. It's great supplemental material for the rest of the series. And there's actually, this is the first movie, Flesh for the Beast, and this was really my first exposure to Fever Dream Productions, and this was Media Blaster Shriek Show's first really original horror film that they released. It deals with succubi in a turn-of-the-century brothel, and it's really cool. They prey on unsuspecting men that are there doing paranormal research on the haunted building that they're in. And Buckethead did the music for that movie.